Welcome to Deep River Farm. A little bit of a change of scenery this morning as we've come down here to the beach to do a little fishing and so forth. But I wanted to show you something we had talked about in the past pertaining to the almanac. And we were talking about the tides and the moon phases. And I wanted to show you something here that coincides with how the moon affects the water table and how that affects the signs in the almanac and tells you when it's a good time to plant. Now, if you'll notice here, you'll see where the seaweed and stuff, stuff like that, you can see where the water line was. This is what was called a king tide. A king tide, and that's where the sun or the moon and the earth align and they get close together. Happens a couple of times a year. This in particular time is when the moon and the earth are aligned and they're very close together, closest they're going to be, and it creates what's called a king tide. Now normally the tide is back here, and you'll see the white line here. That's normally where the tide comes, but when there was a king tide like last night, that tide was pushed all the way back up here. So that shows you right there how the moon phases, and the moon is almost full, so this tide will come back again. This is showing how much more of an increase the tide is, but you can see it for yourself. So the moon definitely plays a part in the water table and how high it pushes the tides. So when the almanac tells you when the good times to plant are in the signs of Cancer or Scorpio, it's telling you that it's a fruitful water sign. And what that means is it's time to plant. Reason being, by the time your seeds germinate, you'll be able to have the signs working in your favor. And you always plant from a new moon toward the full moon in the waxing phase. By the time your seeds germinate and everything, and the root development begins from the seed, your water table will be increasing, which means the water table in the ground is moving upwards due to the moon becoming full. A lot of people don't believe that. I plant by the almanac, and that's the only way I plant. So I just wanted to run that by you and show you the difference in the tides and a king tide. But tonight will be the full moon, so this water line that you saw will probably be increased several more feet. But this was a good illustration that I could show you here on the beach about the king tide and how the moon phases plays an important role in how the almanac describes and tells you when the good times to plant are. So if you don't plant by the almanac, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, because you're taking a good chance on planting in the wrong time and not using the water table to your benefit. And that's very crucial, because if you don't do it right, a lot of times you're just going to get vines and blooms. So I wanted to share that with you this morning on Deep River Farm and show you and be able to actually show you the difference in the different tides and the king tide. And we've not reached the peak yet of the king tide. I wanted to tell you I appreciate all our supporters, all of our subscribers, and thanks for hanging in there with us. And hopefully the information we do share with you is beneficial to you. I hope this made a lot of sense to you. And we're going to do a video on the almanac itself and when to plant and all that type stuff here on Deep River Farm. I appreciate you joining us today. Have a blessed day.